Saintess summons skeletons. By Morn. Chapter 701, Shenanigans. Do you think you can get it? Sofia asked Azarid after walking up to the necklace master. It's hard. I'm confident I can get it, yes, if I spend another hour or two practicing. Not sure that I want to try that hard, though, since I won't be able to buy the damn thing anyway. Again, sorry about that. I don't mind, Azarid said with a shrug, it was my fault for rushing to this trial so soon. I see the difference in our abilities now. I just have a few years of catching up to do, is all. It's not going to be easy, I'm not about to wait for you, Sofia said, but hey, I appreciate having some serious competition. Makes things more exciting, don't you think? Now, should I give this thing a try? All yours, want me to share my findings? I'll try blindly first, let's see how I perform. Alright if you say so, just gotta send some mana to the necklace to start, good luck. Sofia answered with a nod and proceeded to send a small packet of mana to the master necklace. Immediately, it seemed to hit something and dissipate. A tiny electric arc shot out of the necklace, zapping Sofia on the forehead, and that was it. Ooh. Tingly. I messed that one up right from the start, Sofia commented, scratching her forehead. Yeah, my first attempt was the same, Azarid said from the side. Let me try again. Sofia sent her mana more carefully, trying to feel the walls that her mana had hit before. Oh, there's a tiny hole in the backside. Just send the mana in there. With precise control, Sofia sent a minuscule amount of mana in the hole, maintaining the link. There's a turn in there. Very carefully, Sofia led her mana following the path inside of the necklace's pendant. This is just like this puzzle jade slip I got from Alcorm. Distracted by the thought, her control slipped ever so slightly, and received another shock on the forehead. OOP, lost concentration for a second. But I think I get it. Would be much easier if I could hold the necklace. Azarid shook his head, pointing at the circle around the sitting necklace master, can't step into the circle. You can stand on the edge, but at that distance a few more centimeters doesn't change much. No reason not to, Sofia said, getting as close as she could, I think I can get it in under 5 more attempts. I'd mock you for being overconfident, but I know not to now, Azarid deadpanned from behind. Someone else answered him, damn right, you're not in your right mind if you still underestimate my lil sis. Azarid turned to look at Saria, right. You're not half bad yourself, does talent just run in the family? Saria laughed, nah, don't think so, our parents were all but exceptional. We're good at taking advantage of every little opportunity is our thing, I'd say. Just what you learned spending your early years begging on the street. That and a healthy amount of luck to get those opportunities in the first place. While Azarid had a chat with the fake Saria, Sofia worked her mana through the necklace. After failing 2 more times and getting familiar with most of the path inside of the item, she got a good run going with perfect focus, and completed the challenge on her 5th attempt. Easy enough. Sofia completely ignored the reactions of the onlookers as they noticed the armor of the master glow golden, which meant the challenge was completed. She was much too absorbed by the description of the master items. As expected, it's just like the sword and shield. Honestly, I wouldn't mind getting that necklace. I wonder what came first, these items, or the actual living ones. Tournament Doppel's master sword. It's not alive, barely. The one true sword, to swing them all. Maybe fed other swords to gain some or all of their magical effects, up to a limit. Shape can be altered at will to that of any of the absorbed swords. Cannot be destroyed. Must be primed before use. Price, 10000000000 TP. Tournament Doppel's master shield. It's not alive, barely. It glows blue when a worthy shield is nearby. Maybe fed other shields to gain some or all of their magical effects, up to a limit. Shape can be altered at will to that of any of the absorbed shields. Cannot be destroyed. Must be primed before use. Price, 100000000 TP. Tournament Doppel's master necklace. It's not alive, barely. For some reason, you sometimes feel the urge to throw it in a volcano. Maybe fed other jewelry to gain some or all of their magical effects, up to a limit. Appearance can be altered at will to that of any of the absorbed necklaces. Cannot be destroyed. Must be primed before use. Price, 100000000 TP. You really have to wonder where the limit is with all of those can't-be-destroyed items. Is it within system range only? Or do they become part of the blueprint like my eye? The crown is a system item, so maybe those work like that too. So far the only truly unbreakable items I got are the ones from the deep. I don't know if Anna's dagger counts. Still not a single scratch on it despite all it's been through, so maybe? But yeah, this necklace. Feeding it any jewelry would be nice. I could buy and use a bunch of expensive rings and stuff without having to fear about them breaking. As for the shield, Parith will probably be getting it. Plenty of master items he could use, the choice is his in the end. Just one more gold start and we'll be allowed to buy those. Even if we don't have the points yet. 5 long days went by slowly on the Ark. The end of the trial was drawing near, and many people had already awakened their mana heart by now, making them a lot more relaxed, leading to spontaneous parties, barbecue and other such events taking place between trialies all over the Ark. By the end of it, even the shopkeepers and training coaches had started to join the festivities. In comparison, the awakening of Sofia's mana heart was still lagging behind, at only 24% completion. There was not much she could do about it, since fighting was prohibited during the downtime between events. If there were any master items left anywhere, they were extremely well hidden, as none was found during those 5 days. Sofia was playing an elven card game with Morn, Parith, Bookie, Pestle and one of the shopkeepers in their shop, when the Ark suddenly shook, as if hit by something. Cooley, who was napping on a chair, was shaken awake, her hair standing on end. "Shopkeep, I think that's our cue," Sofia said as she stood up, storing up all the bone card. "I was about to win." Bookie complained, as he got up nonetheless and pushed his chair back under the table. Morn stood up unsheathing her sword, finally some action. Alarms started sounding throughout the Ark, and not far from the shop, something pierced through the ceiling, crashing on a decorative fountain of the first floor. "What the hell is that?" Some kind of huge steel egg was there, in the middle of debris of the ceiling it had crashed through. From the constant shocks and sounds from all directions, many such eggs were striking the Ark all over. The bone armor formed over Sofia as she summoned her staff and walked toward the egg, her entire group coming alongside her. "Full of mana. Strong creatures inside," Sofia warned, 5 of them. "How strong?" Cooley asked. "Hard to tell, but they have more mana than most level 299 Monday," Sofia started, interrupted by the sound of something banging on the egg-shaped thing from the inside, creating a small bump. Everyone took position to attack. After banging on the egg thing thrice, the creature managed to kick out a steel panel, sending it flying straight at Parith, who caught it with one hand and slammed it into the ground in front of Bookie as an improvised barricade. A short creature came out of the steel egg, growling. "Is that a pirate goblin?" It was unmistakable a goblin, a short and ugly aquatic creature, like a heavily malformed Andorian with a big head, globulous dark eyes and a wide mouth full of misshapen fangs. It was dressed in strangely proper seafarer clothes, with a tricorn, flintlock and saber. "Graor," it yelled before lunging straight at the closest target, which was Sofia. Sofia was standing with the steel egg right at the limit of her close aura. The goblin was quite fast, but as soon as it lunged forward, before even crossing a full meter, his head spun around 10 times like a spinning top. With its spine completely crushed and its detached head flying towards Sofia's hand, the goblin's corpse fell to the ground. "Not dead," Sofia thought, as 4 more goblins jumped out of the steel egg. A flying sword pierced through the body of the fallen goblin, piercing straight through his mana core before rising back up, slashing all 4 remaining goblins in half at the waist. "Your group has defeated Elite Monster SKRGGD Dud, Deckhand of the Lutherers, level 299X. Chapter 702, Can't Make a Goblet." The group mowed through the invading groups of pirate goblins with relative ease, but there seemed to be no end to them. The more goblins they killed, the more steel eggs full of them rained from the sky, and to make things worse, the Ark started to list to the side. Faster than killing them, Sofia started to transform the goblins in her range into bone urchins, making it very hard for them to do anything. "Hello. It's your captain speaking to you." Love's voice resonated throughout the Ark. "Due to heavy structural damage, the Ark is currently sinking. Please evacuate right away. You will find the evacuation ships on the lowest level. Be quick before it's flooded." The group exchanged a few glances, and they all jumped into a hole left by a steel egg that led directly to the next level. Then rather than to try to find the way down, Cooley punched through the floor. "Oh wow! On the lowest level of the ark were tens of full-on galleons lined up on each side, bowed toward the walls. Multiple other teams were already on other boats, quickly unfurling the sails and preparing to depart. To make us take those when most people here can fly. And considering the name of the event, the boat could end up being very important. Sofia quickly scanned the room, trying to see if any boat was better than the others, but aside from the ones already damaged by the debris of the ark gradually falling apart, they were all more or less the same. I can operate those, Cooley said, jumping right onto the closest ship. Someone cut the mooring lines and open the side wall, quick. Perith jumped on the ship too, helping with the sails, while Morn started to cut the several ropes tying the galleon to the interior of the ark. Sofia ran up to the bow of the boat and looked at the wall. It was clear it could be opened somehow, but there was no obvious mechanism anywhere. Thick wall. No enchantment. Gears? Where does this lead? With her mana senses, Sofia found the way to open the gate by following the internal mechanism. It was a weight-activate mechanism. The ship was on some kind of large wooden cradle, allowing it to stay upright despite being out of the water. The gate would open by itself once it was lifted off of the cradle. I see, I don't actually need to do anything. Sofia jumped up to the deck, joining the others, just as Cooley finished pulling off the ropes to deploy the last sail. Couldn't open the gate, she asked. The ark is flooding, Sofia said, give it a minute, the side will open by itself when the water starts floating the ship. But we're already good to go, Morn said, we're wasting time, let's just blow open the side and leave. Sofia stopped her, wait, no need, maybe. Think you can lift the ship with your gravity powers? This should open it. Easy. Morn raised her sword, and Sofia felt the Saintess mana start to spread around the ship, latching onto it like an invisible hand. With the sound of wood cracking here and there, slowly the galleon started to rise. Everyone heard a loud clunk coming from below, and a large rectangle in the side of the ark started to open, sliding outwards and up with the sound of rotating gears, amidst the chaos of the steel eggs constantly raining and wreaking havoc upon the ark. Further to their right, another gate was opened, kicked into a wide hole by Tartaros. Onwards! Morn shouted as she controlled the boat through the air, making it fly through the opening. Outside, they were still a few meters above sea level. Let the ship down as soon as you can, Cooley told her, it's getting damaged. When it was fully out, Morn carefully brought the galleon down, while Sofia and Perith observed the situation on the sea. It was no exaggeration to say that the ark was completely surrounded by a huge fleet of goblin ships, large as misshapen hunks of steel that somehow still floated, and were sending more and more steel eggs to board the ark. That's at least 100 ships just on this side. Are we supposed to destroy them all? When the galleon finally hit the water with a splash, the entire group received a system notification. You have reached the first checkpoint. Vote on a perk for your vessel. Ties will be picked randomly. You will receive a perk for every checkpoint reached. The number of available choices is random each time between 2 and 5. Available perks, 4. Hull strength plus 100%. Sailing speed plus 100%. Manual side cannons. Automatic hull repair plus 1%/S. Durability. Morn asked coolly. No need, I'll strengthen it with bones. Sofia jumped in, we don't really need cannons either, let's take the speed. Nay. Speed it is. Get to work with your bones. Morn, you try to locate the next checkpoint whatever it is, Perith I let you take care of any incoming goblin eggs. Cooley ordered everyone before jumping up to the helm to steer the ship. Yes, Captain. Sofia answered with a smile, stating to unload tons of bones onto the deck. Your group has unanimously voted for the sailing speed perk. Your vessel speeds up. Despite the wind hitting the sails not changing, the galleon start to pick up some speed, moving away from the ark. The closest goblin ship was several kilometers out, as they were in a wide circle around the ark. Morn flew up into the sky and back down. I think I found it. There's a bright column of light behind a gigantic goblin ship, but it's on the other side of the ark. How gigantic are we talking about? Cooley asked. It almost looks like a mountain, Morn answered as she landed next to her. We might get bonus points for destroying it. Stand at the bow and prepare to charge your signature skill, we're going. Good call. I could bolt it, Sofia suggested from the deck, but Cooley shut her down immediately. Focus on your bones for now. This is regular wood, this shit will break at the first impact. It'll take me a few minutes. Sofia answered back, starting to spread a thin layer of bone all over the galleon's hull both from the inside and the outside. The galleon was quite large, so covering it entirely would take a bit, but it would be pretty easy to make the layer of bone thicker after that by just melting and spreading more of her reserves into it. Too bad I don't have a way to make it a skeleton. Love's energetic voice could still be heard coming from inside the ark. A few groups are already at large. Hurry up everyone, the ark is sinking fast. A few seconds later, as the galleon progressively got farther from the ark and started to turn, Sofia heard a faint whistling sound from above. She looked up, 3 goblin boarding eggs were falling straight toward the ship. 3 at once? The others also looked up. Sofia, you keep working, we take care of that. Coolly ordered from the wheel. I mean. Sure. Do I need to summon anything? Bookie asked, standing next to Sofia with Pestle still sitting on his head. Sofia shook her head, I'm sure we'll have our time to shine later. Just enjoy the ride for now, she answered with a calm smile, not even looking at her teammates intercepting the goblin eggs. Perith had summoned a large club of light and smashed one of the eggs right as it was about to land, crushing it and sending it flying hundreds of meters away from the ship, killing all the goblins inside in one strike. Cooley had jumped up at the last second, and given the second egg the crushing palm treatment, the steel egg stopping mid-air for a second when she hit it before being sent flying so fast it disappeared over the horizon. Morn took care of the last goblin group, simply raising a hand as the steel egg was about to crash on the ship right behind her. It was like the egg hit an invisible ground right above the deck. It was instantly flattened into a bloody goblin omelette. The galleon slowly but surely started to be overrun by Sofia's bones. Using some of her reserves of Lumian bones to make it even stronger, the bones even crept up the masts and around anything that could stand to get reinforced. Sofia was worried that it might slow down the ship, but despite unloading several tons of bone already she had yet to see any difference, so she kept going. Just a bit more and we won't have to worry even if those eggs hit the ship. This is why it matters to have large reserves. With the ship being highly boned, Sofia could even start to steer it and give it a bit more speed with her specialization, even though for such a big entity she couldn't exert much force. And the last remaining intact ship is out. Sorry for those who have not managed to leave in time, the event stops here for you. Please enjoy a nice swim in Gamma B13's Gobliath-infested water. Gobliaths? Sofia felt an enormous amount of mana surging from the depths far behind her. She looked back, it was under the ark. The thing produced a deafening wail, and 2 huge maws surged from the sea, one on each side of the ark, displacing so much water that it was hard to even see. The maw snapped shut, and the creature sunk back into the depths just as it had come, leaving behind only the front and back end of ark, slowly sinking, the entire middle section having disappeared, just like that. That left a huge wave that spread in all directions. Gobliaths. Noted. Unimpressed by the spectacle, Cooley kept yelling orders, I'm lining up the ship. Hold on tightly and brace for impact. Chapter 703, Healthy Snacks. The speed upgrade helped the ship turn around in time. Cooley stopped it when it perfectly faced the incoming wall of water. Sofia used her aura to keep herself and Bookie secured to the deck and watched the wave come. The sails flapped and furled in the wind, and the wave struck, lifting the ship skyward. The hull creaked under its layer of bone, but it held. Cold salty water cascaded over the deck, washing away anything that wasn't properly secured. Finally the bow plunged after the wave, the ship falling back into calmer water. Bookie. Job for you, Sofia said as soon as the wave passed, summon the engineer. Yes. At the same time, Sofia quickly made a rough miniature replica of the ship with bones, and as soon as the engineer skeleton was there, she gave it to him. We need this ship faster and sturdier, I can modify it, so show me where to. While Cooley steered the ship in a wide arc around the ark to go toward the large goblin ship, Morn and Perith protected it against the incoming steel eggs that rained from the sky every so often. Sofia left them behind, following the engineer below deck. Given a notepad and a pencil, the engineer started drawing things at a terrifying speed. First he had Sofia demolish and empty out most of the ship's insides, leaving it as a large open space. Any excess wood was stored in Sofia's eye for quick disposal. The engineer then started drawing mechanical parts seen from multiple angles, with size measurements and number of parts next to them. Though he could still not write words, numbers and measuring units were fine, apparently. Using her bones, Sofia created the parts to the best of her ability, and the engineer used his skills to assemble them, creating some kind of weird windmill. Are you sure this is going to help? Sofia asked, watching the thing taller than herself that she had just helped create and couldn't understand the aim of. The skeleton nodded, and showed how to install it, which involved carving a large hole through the bottom of the ship and plugging it up with the thing before it had time to sink. Once it was done, only a horizontal pole sticking out of the thing was left inside. I think I get that the thing is supposed to spin. I see how it could make us faster now, but what now? Am I supposed to spin it with my aura? The engineer shook his skull, and started drawing again. The mimic? Not what I expected. Following the schematics, Sofia built a giant wheel for the mimic skeleton to run inside of, connecting it to the rest of the machine. The mimic was Sofia's fastest skeleton, up there with Pestle, and as it ran and the wheel spun, Sofia could feel the ship start to go faster. It was powered not by mana but by the undead's infinite stamina. I'm not sure how much this is going to help, but it's a good start. The entire thing had only taken a few minutes. With that done, Sofia returned to the deck to watch the situation outside. We're almost there, Cooley said to Sofia, seeing her come out. What are you doing down there? Just working on a speed upgrade. Did you not feel the difference? Nay. So that's what that was? I thought we hit some kind of strong current or something. Well, stay here now, might need you. I see that. How is it looking for the other teams? Sofia asked, seeing many other galleons all going in the same direction. It was Morn who answered, a few got overrun by the goblins, we haven't seen the big thing come back. The other strong groups have all been keeping their distances aside from your sisters, which is that ship farther in front of us. No one's tried anything so far, but they are watching us. Total of about 70 boats out, as you can see, some with multiple teams aboard. Do we even know if we can attack each other? Sofia asked. We sure can, Morn confirmed. One of the ships rammed another earlier and they both sunk. I think both teams got eliminated. They didn't try to jump to another ship or at least fly around a bit. Try to fly if you want, Cooley said from the wheel. We're stuck here. Your fairy's been complaining she can't invade the other ships. Wait, really? Sofia quickly located Pestle, who was on top of the highest mast, and flew up join her, finding her looking at the sky, sulking lying on her back, legs hanging in the wind. Is everything all right, Pestle? Sofia. Pestle bored. No like small boat. No explore, no kill, no leg. Sofia tried to think of something to say, but explosion noises in the distance captured her attention. Pestle stood up, watching as several red steel eggs were fired from the giant mountain-like goblin ship. Red ones? 10 of them exactly. Is one coming our way? Ah, yep, 2. One for Saria's ship probably. Did they just fire them at the 10 strongest teams? Sofia yelled at her team below, can you leave this one to Pestle? Morn and Perith shrugged, while Cooley just said don't break the ship. There you go. Have fun. Kill. Sofia followed Pestle down, and started reinforcing the deck where she predicted the egg was going to land. The goblin egg hit the ship with a thunderous bang, making it sink almost a whole meter and rebounding up. It did not pierce the deck but was well embedded into it. The red egg seemed much sturdier than the usual. A single big goblin inside. Pestle did not wait for the goblin to come out. She disappeared from Sofia's side, leaving a fist-sized hole in the red steel. A fight broke out. A firearm was fired with a bang, leaving a second, red-hot hole in the egg. The egg shook, and Sofia could barely follow what was going on inside, but it seemed the goblin was managing to defend itself against Pestle, even striking back and injuring her. Perith came to stand next to Sofia. He silently reactivated his sanctified grounds. You wanted to help? Well, I don't want her to struggle either. Sofia fully activated Runeforged Overlord. Between the sudden buffs and the constant healing from Sofia's close aura, Pestle could maintain the assault no matter how many times the goblin inside hit her, even when he shot her point blank with his firearm. She's really going all out in there. It was hard to even tell what Pestle was doing, as she kept moving and teleporting around inside of the egg. The creature inside roared several times, incomprehensible gargles of a mad goblin, and finally, after about half a minute, Pestle came out from the same hole she had entered, carrying a blood-covered mana heart that looked like a blue pearl almost as large as herself. You have defeated elite monster ZGRGL Nom, Striker of the Luterers, level 349. Kin leg? She asked innocently. It's your kill. Leg. Pestle rejoiced, holding her trophy high above her head before taking a bite out of it. We didn't even have to do anything, Morn commented from the side, look at these guys on the right, they're sinking. Ah, yeah, not everyone's capable of handling such an enemy. Hey. Same level as the demon lords from the second event, Morn said, and it's just the beginning of this event. We better not lose. I need to buy that sword. Wait, you're still on a perfect win streak? Sofia asked, not aware as the Saintess had just never mentioned her results for some of the solo events, and did not wear the pins. Morn confirmed with a nod, summoning a pile of pins in her hand, see, all gold, 8 of them. I may not have as many points as you do but I've not lost yet. And you didn't get to the final floor of the tower back then. Hey, no need to rub salt in the wound. These damn orbs, man. I still see 'em in my nightmares. Ah, that's no longer censored? That's new, how did you fail exactly? Sofia asked, the two Saintesses carelessly chatting as more steel eggs rained from the sky and ships sunk left and right. Yeah, the censor has been getting weaker, I could ask Sun what that's about if you want, she probably knows. No need, I have my idea of why. If you say so, Morn said, and yet, how I failed. Wasn't glorious. I tried to understand what orb was the correct one, searched for potential matches. But despite several attempts I didn't find the damn thing, and as the orbs got faster and faster, my concentration slipped. The tip of my left ear touched one of the orbs. Yeah, what we elves get for having long ears, hey. Oh. I basically did that too, my wings touched one, if I remember correctly, just that should have been fine, though, no. Could have. But hear this, it barely brushed against my ear but that activated the damn thing. It turned into an electric arrow aimed right at my head, I reflexively crouched down to avoid the thing, no time for anything else, it missed me but hit another orb that was behind me. That was another yellow one. Maybe earlier in the event I would have managed, but that late into it, it became hard to deal with 2 of those at once while also avoiding the others. Had to let them hit me a few times, but it's hard to keep thinking straight while getting constantly shocked. Bumped into another one, got pelted in the face by hail, sent me reeling back into 3 more. And I got overwhelmed like that, had to leave to avoid dying. Sucked ass. And you know the worst part? No. When I got back to Herzl later after failing this, Sun locked me up in a replica of that floor until I could survive a whole hour at the maximum speed without getting hit. Sounds fun, Sofia offhandedly answered, looking at the goblin ships in the distance, many had started to sail in the direction of the Trilis galleons. Looks like we have to get back into it. Morn smirked and grabbed a particularly huge blue sword from her storage. Let me show you the sword I've been itching to try out this entire trial. This one is called Exodus, the Sea Splitter. Chapter 704, Long Distance Skullduggery. It's been rapidly getting cloudy. Looks like it's going to rain. Sofia stood straight on top of the ship's highest mast. 2 giant human skulls were slowly rotating around her as if surveying the horizon. It's been a while since I've used the choir like this. Sofia cleared her throat, and started speaking, her voice amplified 1,000 times by the giant skulls repeating everything she said. Hello everyone. Sofia speaking. I should be pretty easy to spot right now if you follow the voice. Here is some friendly advice, move away. Bad things will happen to you if you stay close or in front of us. You have been warned. Dispelling the skulls, Sofia jumped back down, joining Morn at the front of the ship. Was that really necessary? We could have eliminated some competition, Morn noted. My sis will probably realize right away she's a fake if I let you hit her like that. Maybe the system would prevent that from happening but I don't want to take any chances. Besides, we might need to keep the others around, especially if the Gobliath shows up again, the more potential targets the safer we are. You got a point there, I don't want to end up in that thing's belly if I can avoid it. Still though, why would you care if the fake realizes she's a fake? Sofia scratched her head, well. It would just feels like shit, you know? Even if she is a fake, she's still a copy of my sister. If it was one of your relatives would you like them to know they're a fake bound to disappear as soon as the trial's over? Hey, didn't know you saw things like that. We should hang out more after this. Sun knows where I live, you can visit anytime. Assuming she lets me. Morn sighed, looking at the sea and the goblin mountain ship in the distance. It was not too far anymore, 2 or 3 kilometers at most. It's interesting that they stopped attacking, preparing something maybe? Your warnings worked at least, everyone's moving, she said, taking position and preparing her sword, mana starting to gather in the tall blue blade. They were trying to avoid me in events in the first place, not surprising they'd move when I warn them. I'm more surprised you didn't get the same kind of attention when you're also on a perfect win streak. I won't say it twice, but my swords aren't quite as impressive as your explosions, is probably why. Also, your new specialization is disgusting, but that's another subject. In the distance, alarms rung all over the humongous goblin ship. It seemed that they, too, were trying to move out of Morn's way, but their giant hunk of steel was woefully slow. Think you'd beat me in a duel? Sofia asked. You? If you fight without Perith and the fairy, I think I get you 9 times out of 10, honestly. All 3 at once? I'm super dead meat, it's not even a fight. Underestimating me now, are you? Aha. Really not. But let's keep that talk for later, I'm ready. Morn announced, her muscles bulging and bursting with veins as she held her sword up high. Show us where your confidence comes from. Sofia cheered her on. Standing at the very tip of the galleon's bow, facing the giant goblin ship in the distance, the Saintess brought her sword down. Sofia watched wide eyes as the blade ripped through space, mana detonating like a torn seam in reality. The sound of the sword strike was like an explosion, and the shockwave was the same, yet for a very short instant, it seemed almost like the strike had done nothing. The sea roared, splitting as Morn's blade carved a chasm through the waves. Water surged apart, a canyon of roiling seas revealing the ocean's depths now marked with a new scar. The sky above shuddered, clouds sheared in two, their edges glowing gold as sunlight pouring through. The goblin's mountain-esque ship, grotesque behemoth of floating steel, stood no chance. The invisible arc of mana tearing forward through space ripped it in half, sliced trough from side to side. The steel groaned and split, its halves plummeting into the abyss. The goblin's screams could be heard from kilometers away. Sofia kept the galleon airborne through this ordeal. As the sea had been chased away, she had quickly granted it the blessing of permanent frame locking it in place. The spectacle lasted only an instant, almost as violently as it had been chased away, the sea returned, 2 gigantic walls of water slamming into one another. The goblin ship disappeared, engulfed by the depths as the sea collided with a deafening crash, waves exploding upwards in chaotic fury. A colossal whirlpool formed where the goblin ship sank, and gigantic waves rippled outward. Sofia had to quickly disable her kill notification because there were so many it clogged her vision. Holding Bookie's book form firmly against her waist, she let the wave pass. The blessing kept the galleon steady against the raging seas, and as for the others, be it the Triolese or the rest of the goblin fleet, they were washed away by the sudden tsunami. What a strike! When finally the wave was gone and Sofia could breathe again, not that she needed to, she checked if everyone was still there. Morn was still standing in the same spot, looking spent but unarmed. Cooley was still holding the wheel, though her wet rabbit ears made her look particularly comical, and Perith was still moving around the ship. He was already busy trying to fix the sails even though he knew very little about how the ropes worked. Bookie was with Sofia, so only Pestle was left unaccounted for. Pestle? Searching for the fairy's presence, Sofia found it below the ship. What are you doing? So, what do you think? Morn asked at the same time, gasping for air, worth buying a sword with extra damage against water. That's one ridiculous item description if I've ever heard any, Sofia answered, nice spectacle, though. This doesn't pale in comparison to my bolts. I think you killed about half the people who were still in the race, judging by the number of alerts. What's the cooldown on that again? A day. Honestly, not bad. Sofia felt Pestle coming back from under the ship, so she looked in her direction, only to see not a tiny skeleton fairy coming out of the water, but a huge purple-scaled shark, landing right onto the deck, meters away from her. It's dead. Pestle crawled from under the creature, skull dripping with sea water. Found sea leg. Sofia had to try hard to contain her laughter. Someone's got their priorities right. After dispelling the blessing, letting the boat start to advance toward the supposed next checkpoint again, now with no obstacle beyond a deadly whirlpool, Sofia heard Pestle out about her leg. She wanted to share, for once. So, while the other groups were in a rush, trying to repair their ships and correct course back to the checkpoint after being washed away by a second tsunami, Sofia gutted a shark and practiced her unpicked roast master specialization. As Sofia slowly rotated the shark impaled on a bone in front of her firebird skeleton, she suddenly felt an attack incoming before she could even see it. She heat death ed it away with nanoseconds to spare, a fifth of her entire mana disappearing in an instant. The attack had come from far away, and it had been so fast a trail of light could still be seen where it was cast despite Sofia dispelling it. It pierced straight through Sofia's right hand and would have basically engulfed it and the shark without hitting anything else. Using her fake eye to zoom in on the ships in the direction the attack came from, Sofia located the attacker. Tisk tisk. Sneaky Andorian, munching on an opera and trying to ruin our meal. Your lucky Pestle is playing with the mimic downstairs. Aw crap, the choir is still on cooldown. Wait, he's right in range. Sofia stored the red opera in Azarid's hand, and summoned it right back into her own. She took a large bite of the fruit, before storing it back and bringing it back out on top of Azarid's head. Which seemed to leave him speechless. Heh. That's what you get. And Pestle. Stop distracting the mimic, we need to get to that checkpoint. The galleon suddenly sped up, down below deck, Sofia could tell Pestle was spinning. I should focus on that shark. You have reached the second checkpoint. Vote on a perk for your vessel. Available perks, 2. Sailing speed plus 100%. Event map. Map. Without even a need for discussion, everyone voted for the map, and in the corner of their vision, a new system window opened, showing a bird's-eye view of the sea. It was a square centered on the ship's position, with 3 landmarks scribbled on. They read as Ark, Goblin Destroyer, Checkpoint 2, and in the upper right corner, an arrow pointed out of the map, marked labeled Cannon Canyon, Checkpoint 3. We continue straight ahead. Cooley shouted to the others from the wheel, Sofia, can you prepare a diversion? No reason to show the others the way. Give me a minute to think of something, the food's almost ready. Chapter 705, sounds surely safe. Do I send a big bolt in the ocean? A large enough explosion should create more than enough steam to hide us for a bit. No, that's easily blown away with a bit of wind. Wait. The smell of this fish must be frying my brain. They're still wearing the bone rings I gave them, right? Yep, looks like it. Alright. How much mana to invest? 2 million. 6 minutes should be enough. Sofia flew up as much as the rules of the event would let her, and after a short 5-second cast, she spent 1 million mana on a Saintesmancer's star. The bright sun of holy light appeared above the ship, and was left behind as the galleon continued to advance. That should do it. Sofia flew back down to keep grilling Pestle's catch. Good enough, she asked coolly. Perfect, thank you, should help to hide where we are going. I think they'll figure it out soon anyway, Morn added. Likely, some must have picked the map too, also, but this is really starting to feel like a race to me, so any advance we can get is good to take, Cooley explained. Well, you're the one behind the wheel. Girls, Sofia interrupted, look, there was nothing out there and this fog suddenly appeared, she told them, pointing vaguely at the direction of the third checkpoint on the map. Nay, I was wondering how we were going to find a canyon in this plain ocean, Cooley noted, I suppose this works. The group lazily munched on grilled meat as they sailed toward the fog, Sofia getting a few kill alerts in the process. Looking back, it seemed the curse of her fake sun mesmerized a few contestants into jumping in the water and that had killed them somehow. The other strong contestants, however, were all still following, having all dealt with the curse one way or another. For a crazy ride into the sunset it has been pretty mild so far. Sofia thought as the ship slowly entered the thick fog. Sofia looked down the side of the galleon, making sure that the formation of her skeletons held. She had summoned 200 guardian Kijikiks, 100 for each side of the galleon. They were latching onto the sides of the hull in a tight formation, with their large rectangular shields strapped on their back like shells. A few losses again, the ones from below, climb back up to fix the hole in your formation. Sofia ordered them as she kept unloading more bones to hastily fix the holes in the hull. All from the right. Cooley warned, her superior hearing letting her notice the faintest of sound. The entire crew rushed to the right side of the ship, ready to defend. This was the 10th salvo of cannonballs aimed at the ship since it had entered the canyon. The canyon was a large channel between 2 tall cliffs, but the galleon was forced to traverse through the very center, as there were many rocky outcrops on the sides. With how thick the fog was, that meant they could barely see the bottom of the cliffs on either side, and could not see the enemy hiding within cliffside galleries. On each side were lines and lines of cannons, and no matter how much Sofia strained her mana senses, she could never tell which ones were going to fire before that happened. As Cooley had predicted, the group heard a series of bangs from the right cliff, and a dozen astrite cannonballs flew toward the ship from a few different angles. Sofia managed to store 4 of them in her eye before they hit the ship, but that was the most she could get in so little time with the fog hindering her view. The others all blocked however they could, and this volley was successfully defended against. That's 10. This canyon sure is long, Morn complained, joining the others near the wheel. At least with Sofia to fix the ship we'll be leaving with basically no damage, Cooley said, putting her hands back on the wheel. We're almost at the 3rd checkpoint, so this must be the end. I can hear the other ship behind us is getting closer, Izarad's group, I think. They must have picked 2 speed perks, Sofia guessed, at this rate. Wait, Cooley interrupted her, her ears perking up, both sides. Big one. Everyone left for their post, they each had their pre-assigned position for attacks from both sides to make organization faster. Cannons fired from both cliffs, tens of cannonballs raining upon the ship. Everyone did their best to defend, but many Kijikik skeletons died, and the galleon was inevitably pierced in several places both above and below the waterline. Sofia's storage eye harvested the cannonballs straight from the air, but under the constant barrage, she had to leave the defense to the others. I'm going down to repair, she yelled amidst the constant firing noises. Jumping Paparith, whose shield stopped cannonballs one after the other, she threw herself down the hatch leading into the ship. She quickly flew to the nearest water leak, and with the stronger control her close aura gave her, fixed the gaping hole in the hull almost instantly. In just a few seconds, she repaired everything, but the cannonballs kept raining down, creating more holes. After 30 seconds of an uninterrupted barrage, the shots finally stopped. Over? Sofia stored the few cannonballs which were floating inside of the ship, and walked to the engineer skeleton, who presented her with a new schematic of a machine to hook to the mimic-powered wheel. Some kind of hand pump? Oh, to get rid of the water? Good call. As she manufactured bone parts for the pump, Sofia got a new system notification. You have reached the 3rd checkpoint. Vote on a flying perk for your vessel. Available perks: 4. Anti-gravity hull. Dragon wings. Phoenix module. Levitation array. Flying? Sofia ran back up to the main deck. The fog was starting to clear up, and she could see all the way to the end of the canyon, where the sea seemed to just disappear. Oh, we need to pick fast. What do we take? Sofia asked. I've no idea. Wings. Phoenix. Phoenix. Trust me. Morn jumped in, instantly casting her vote. The others followed. Your group has unanimously voted for the Phoenix module flying perk. Your vessel changes. The hull started cracking. Sofia could feel the bones at the rear of the galleon turn into something else. Looking at it, it seemed to be some kind of steel. The steel warped, taking a rounded and more elongated shape, making the ship almost twice as long at the rear. At the same time, a panel with buttons and switches along with a few levers appeared near the wheel. I'll handle it. Morn told Cooley, taking her place at the wheel. Elven technology? Cooley asked. Damn right. I've only seen this one in books, but I know how it works. NG. Come up, we might need you here. The galleon reached the end of the canyon and started to tip forward. The sky in front of them was a dark blue shifting to pure black, and the water underneath the boat had disappeared. The end of the canyon was several kilometers above the sea surface somehow, leading the ship to a free fall toward the clouds below. You better make it work fast. Sofia hurried Morn as she fought against the current to keep the ship from falling off of the canyon. No matter how much she told the bones to stop, the ship was too big for her to completely halt, especially with its new steel addition at the rear. Almost there! Morn exclaimed, frantically fiddling with the control panel, as the ship started to dangerously tip down toward the clouds. The steel behind them started to radiate heat and make strange noises. Sofia wanted to use her mana senses to check what was happening inside, but she held back, knowing how badly mana and electrical technology tended to interact. Long flames started spewing out of the galleon's rear, and the extra propulsion precipitated its fall out of the canyon's waters. Just a bit more. Morn confidently said as they fell. Sofia controlled the deck's bones to latch onto everyone's feet, preventing any unexpected falls as the galleon went for a nosedive. She looked back, watching the canyon in the sky disappear from view and the flames getting stronger. With deployed sails, the masts couldn't handle the friction and broke one by one. Slowly the falling galleon started to right itself. Just as it fell through a thick layer of clouds, it finally started flying and stopped falling. Morn pulled hard on a lever, and the ship tilted the other way, starting to slowly gain altitude, and flying back out of the clouds. There we go. Man! Harder to operate than I thought. Morn said, wiping her brows, we should be stable now, straight to the next checkpoint. Sofia and Perith observed the map while Cooley looked at the clouds underneath the ship. Is that our maximum speed? Cooley asked. That seems quite slow. It's not that slow, but that's the best I can do for now I think. It needs to accumulate heat before being able to use the main speed boost. Once we use that, though, we should be much faster than anyone who picked something else. Next checkpoint is close enough anyway, Sofia pointed out, it's almost within the map's boundaries already considering how fast the arrow is moving. The name is worrying though. Is it? Cooley absent-mindedly said, bringing up her map. Her eyes widened as she read the name. What could possibly Morn started saying, bringing up her own map. Sun save us. Lulled Leviathan's Lot, Checkpoint 4. Chapter 706, Dumber than a Kleptra. A note from Morn. Sofia. Should we turn back? Cooley asked, a serious expression on her face. Wait for the ones without a map to jump into the maw of the beast for us. Morn asked, Sofia did mention bait earlier. We'd squander the little advance we currently have, Sofia said, I see two ways forward. Either we go as slow as possible, and pray that the lulled in the checkpoint name means that we're safe as long as don't make too much noise. Or we fly in circles here for a bit, wait for the other groups to go first, and use the charged Phoenix module speed boost to catch up or try to get past the Leviathan, depending on what we see. Pestle jumped into the discussion out of nowhere. Leviathan, she asked, in shock. Leviathan no. Very no, she exclaimed, making an X with her arms. We all get that, but it doesn't change that we have to get past it somehow, Sofia told her. There must be a way or this wouldn't be in the trial, right? Yes way, Pestle unexpectedly answered, if dead, Leviathan maybe no kill, she explained. Does that mean it doesn't target undead like you? Cooley asked. Pestle shook her tiny skull. Pestle and Pret and Boki no dead. Leviathan kill. Morn started turning the ship around to avoid getting close, as the group continued to try to come up with a plan. That's not helping us much, she added. The gears were spinning in Sofia's mind, she felt that she might have the solution already. I need to try something, she said, grabbing a page from Bookie at her waist without even looking. Crowy appeared on the deck in front of Sofia. Are you going to send the poor bird to its death? Cooley asked. No, send Leviathan. Pestle cried out, standing in between Crowy and Sofia. I'm not sending Crowy to the Leviathan, don't worry. Here's what I need you to do, Crowy, fly out in this direction, go at about a third of your maximum speed. I'll be monitoring what happens to you, you could die, we'll see, she said, pointing to the left. It was toward no checkpoint, just the sea. Crowy did not hesitate to follow the instruction and took off from the flying galleon. What are you trying to do? Morn asked, looking up at the second ship coming down from the canyon in the distance, huge dragon-like wings and a tail sprouting from the hull of their ship. I want to know how the penalty for leaving the ship applies. We saw the people die, but it's not clear to me how exactly. We could use the event rules to our advantage here, Sofia explained, monitoring Crowy's health from the ship. With the sun high in the sky, now that they were out of the canyon's fog, Bookie's skeletons were technically immune to damage. And yet, as soon as Crowy was more than 100 meters away from the ship, his life started to go down. At first he lost 1% of his total health, then a second later 2%, then 3, then 4. Good enough, you can come back. The damage continued to ramp up until Crowy entered the vicinity of the ship again, and it stopped completely. Not instant death, but also not something that can be sustained for very long. Maybe Singularity Edict would trigger here, but I wouldn't bet on it. It's health percentage damage, so Perith can't take it. I think I can see a way. As Sofia was lost in thought, Izarad's ship approached and turned around to fly next to Sofia's group. Hey! Are you giving up? The Andorian hero called out from behind the wheel on his side. As if. Morn answered. What's the hold up then? Think we'd tell you. No big deal if you don't. Izarad answered, we'll just keep following you from here. Really? Where's your honor, man? Our god only cares about progress, he replied with a smug smile. Sofia gave a glance to the spectator count, which was already at over 30,000 and rising, and turned to Azarid. Guys! How about a formal alliance for this checkpoint? You need our help. Azarid answered right away. After some quick negotiations, as other groups were starting to emerge from the canyon, Sofia was ready to put her two plans to execution. The new alliance would be split into two teams. The first group was comprised of the two ships and almost everyone aboard them, trying to get past the Leviathan territory the Viliadran way. They would go for a long loop, completely avoiding the danger zone which was very kindly indicated on the event map. This would likely take several hours, but it was the safe and probably intended way. And then, the second group was Sofia. The hero healer on Azarid's side had many very strong buff skills, which was why Sofia suggested the alliance to begin with. She hoped that with enough buffs, she could fly through the Leviathan's zone. Thus, the healer and the skeleton high priest gave Sofia all the buffs they could, and she herself prepared a few things. Are you really sure about this? Coolly asked, as Sofia was preparing to go. If there are bonus points to be earned in this event, they must be here. If our triangulation with the arrow movement on the map are right, I'm confident I can cross that distance. With so many speed boosts, it should not take me long. Sofia confidently said. You know full well this is not what I meant. Worst case, you guys will have to finish the event without me. But I can hardly pass up such a chance to progress my mana heart anyway, so I just have to do it. Pretty sure everyone watching isn't expecting me to go the long way either. Alright Sofia, your choice. Good luck. Sofia is Klepra, Pestle said with a sigh, lying flat on Peritha's head. Perith, unlike the others, seemed to be quite confident in Sofia pulling off another stupid feat, although he could not express it with words. I gave you everything I could, the woman from Azarid's team told Sofia after casting a last buff. Thank you. I'm going, you guys be quick, Tatarto's ship is already pulling away. Having left most of her belongings to Perith aside from her crown and the dagger she needed to bolster her stats, as well as Sorrow's shroud, Sofia deployed her wings, and jumped off, alone. She flew straight toward the next checkpoint, while the two allied ships started to go for the long way around. Let's see what this Leviathan is all about. There was nothing at first, aside from the faint wind that could still be felt at her current high altitude far above the clouds. With Speed's rune carved in her armor, and all the buffs she currently had, including rune-forged Overlord at full blast, Sofia was pretty much the fastest she had ever been outside of space. She flew so fast, the ships behind her disappeared in an instant, and the clouds were nothing but a grey blur, until they disappeared altogether, letting her appreciate the calm blue sea far below. Her health started disappearing in chunks. She had it displayed directly in a percentage for this. It ticked down every second. 99%. 97%. 94%. 90%. Would have been too easy if the edict worked, hey. As if the Leviathan wasn't an issue enough by itself. On the bright side, every passing second gave Sofia more speed through crystallized suffering. I should prepare the thing now. 85%. As her health went down, Sofia started moving around the bones inside of her, forming a small bone shell around her mana heart, which she then stabbed with her dagger. The key was lodged into the bone right next to the mana heart, without touching it. 79%. Sofia checked her map again. It's really not that far. 72%. The water down below started to look strange. Oh shit. Here we go. 64%. Sofia was suddenly hit by something she had not even felt coming, her head starting to spin and her body to convulse. In insurmountable pain, she could barely catch a glimpse of the system notifications popping up in front of her eyes. You have been affected by instant death. But your skills negated the status. You have been affected by disorientation. You have been affected by confusion. But your skills negated the status. You have been affected by mana reversal. But your mana heart negated the status. You have been affected by insanity. But your skills negated the status. You have been affected by agony. You have been affected by mind control. But your skills negated the status. You have been affected by complete organ failure. You have been affected by hypnosis. But your skills negated the status. You have been affected by unidentified curse or status *52. But your buffs negated their effects. You have been affected by unidentified curse or status *184. You have been affected by existential dread. You have been affected by overconfidence. You have been affected by foolishness. You have been affected by shame. You have been affected by ego death. You have. Like having hit an invisible wall of death, Sofia started plummeting toward the ocean, her stat counters showing nothing but errors. Her consciousness was fading rapidly. With the last bit of willpower she had, she activated her first contingency plan. With her essence cores drawing rejection's divine rune, she rejected her own mana heart, sending it flying, far into the distance. Won't target. The dead. Sofia died. Her body reformed around the bone shell containing her dagger and mana heart, 3 whole seconds later. She had crossed several kilometers while dead, her heart having flown terribly far with both her initial momentum and the rejection. She was more than halfway through the marked Leviathan territory on the map. The death-inducing package of status effects hit her again before she could even fully regain her senses, only to get completely negated by the edict. Hey! Only then did she have time to understand what exactly the actual wall she had hit was. Wait! It's the Leviathan's aura. A continuous singular attack. Sofia laughed as she sped up. Bahahaha! Get boned! Her health started ticking down again, but as it started from 1% damage again after her death, it was no longer much of an issue. That being said, as her mana was near zero, her speed was lesser than what it had been, she took that opportunity to start her demon form transformation, eating her heart mid-flight. She heard a strange sound as she transformed, and just like that, she died, not even realizing it before she woke up again 3 seconds later, farther away along her flight path, but also much closer to the water. As her transformation had been completed while she was dead, Sofia immediately activated one of her skills as she awakened. Damn thing kills me so fast my racial skill doesn't even have time to work. She died once more as she cast her skill. Regret resolved as she died. She used it with the intent of having used summon self instead. So she reappeared a few meters away, just in time to see what had almost killed her disappear. What the hell? It was like a tentacle of stacked ritual circles, traced mid-air in pure concentrated mana, quickly sinking back into the sea, leaving disturbed space behind, as if reality struggled to even stay coherent near such a thing. When it struck a third time, Sofia finally managed to feel it coming somewhat. She froze the toy box as she died. In the frozen world of mana revealing the inner workings of the trial, Sofia looked around, catching a glimpse of the creature hiding under the waves. Lords. Chapter 707, Level 1 Abyss Crook / Level 10 Leviathan Boss. The Leviathan was like an underwater mountain, a volcano of mismatched corpses and parts, fish and otherwise, human, dragon, kleptra, all stacked and fused together. Even in the stop time of the toy box, they swayed and pulsated slowly, mana coursing through them like blood through capillaries before seeping into the water. On top of this uncanny mountain of corpse, held up by a neck of 1,000 thick tentacles, was a giant, bloated head, looking very vaguely human. It was hard to describe, especially with Sofia's current mana vision, but it looked both happy and in pain. Its wide, creepy toothless smile curved up the sides of the head, surrounding 2 uneven large empty eye sockets, that 2 tiny hands on spindly arms were clawing at restlessly. The reason Sofia could see that much of the thing's face was that it was facing her, and she could tell that this was not the whole thing, as the bottom of the mountain faded out. The toy box was only simulating a portion of the entire Leviathan. Just what is that? Sofia wondered with a shiver. I thought it would just be another big sea monster. But this? Was the Leviathan a person? Or did it evolve to copy a head? And the number of dead bodies on there? That's what? At least 12 entire dragons and 5 kleptras. Hard to tell when all I get is the mana shape, but that's what those look like. And the weird tentacle of mana circles that just killed me, let's see. It continues deep underwater. So deep I cannot even see its origin. Wow! There are several of them too. I did manage to fly past the head, so that's something. But it looks like I won't be able to go much further. And this isn't even the real thing, is it? Considering the size of the real Leviathan's territory. It must be at least 50 times bigger than that. How did anyone ever manage to harvest a tear of this thing? Does it even cry? Just how does such a thing come to be? Sofia felt the need to avert her eyes, as she could clearly notice her thoughts get muddy the longer she stared at the Leviathan. Gah, good that I don't need to sleep much anymore, this is the stuff of nightmares. How much longer can I maintain the freeze if I don't move at all? I feel like maybe a minute or two if I really push it. Is that enough time to find a way to survive this? I'm out of mana, got 2 unlife runes left considering I am technically dead right now. Do I have something stored in my eye that could help maybe? Bunch of junk. Oh, I do have that. The bottle of forbidden juice. Could the trial's toy box properly reproduce the effects of a lord's blood, though? And would it even help? The effects on Isaro and the Hidden Moon citizens seem to have been quite slow. It's not often that I feel so out of options. When was the last time? When Hugo was slapping me around after I stole the key, maybe? I got saved by an external factor back then. And now? Sofia imagined 1,000 scenarios in her head as the seconds passed in the frozen toy box. I think I got it. The Leviathan won't even let people teleport through its domain. The toy box unfroze, and Sofia's rune activated. She lost consciousness for the 3 seconds she was dead, and even through death, one thought persisted. As soon as she revived, she used Summon Self, purposely botching the cast to eject her entire soul out of her body instead of the tiny fragment normally used for teleportation. This wouldn't be fatal, as the unlife runes disjoined her soul and her body in the first place, but she died once again either way, as the tentacle of mana circles obliterated her once again. Another such tentacle had shot out of the ocean at the same time to attack her stray soul. Only light remained of Sofia's body after the tentacle erased her, but as far as she was concerned, this was enough. It was a physical body. Mark of Afinareth. Soul protection. Due to the irremovable nature of the mark, your soul is now similarly impossible to forcefully erase. Please note that this does not prevent self-inflicted soul damage nor does it prevent death. This is only in effect while you have a physical body. The second tentacle hitting Sofia's soul failed to erase it. And with the sheer force of the magical blow it was an exact repeat of the abyss god hitting Sofia's astrite chest into space. Her soul could not be erased, so it was sent into orbit. 3 seconds of flight at this speed through the spirit plane without gravity to hold it back was more than enough to send Sofia's soul far and away into space. At the end of those 3 seconds, her body reformed at the midpoint between her bloodlight and soul, snapping both halves together, creating a long scar of spatial disturbance along the way. With no runes left, Sofia opened her eyes in the dark emptiness of space, with a perfect view of the entire blue planet below. We'll call this one a draw. A wide smile on her face, Sofia wanted to bask in the glory of her narrow escape for a bit longer, but she could see her health ticking down already. Though offset by the healing of her specialization for now, it would not last forever. Aw crap! I can never catch a break. Not quite outside of the planet's gravitational pull, Sofia was already falling anyway, but with no mana and no air to fly on, she was going to fall straight into the Leviathan's territory again. She used the blessing of permanent frame on her own skeleton to stop the fall. The Leviathan's territory supposedly extended quite far into space, so if she was currently out, she wouldn't be for long. Stuck in place, she watched the planet move away rapidly. Oh shit! She cancelled the blessing and started to fall toward the planet again. Scary how fast a planet moves. And we don't feel any of that? Holy lords! That certainly puts me out of the Leviathan's territory. Sofia thought as she fell down. She looked at her position on the map. And on the correct side, too. Finally some luck. Wait. That means we could have just sent the ship to space and done that to get past the Leviathan to being with. Fuck. All that for nothing. Well, not that I could have known the planet was moving in exactly the right direction. Or that this would even work, was my blessed frame's referential for cannot move the sun this time? Sofia would fall in between the 4th and 5th checkpoint. The landing spot is perfect. Though I suppose I should turn toward the 4th checkpoint a bit to catch it. Just have to be careful not to get into the Leviathan's territory again. The checkpoint itself is right outside after all. While she fell, she checked her health, which was also falling. This fall is taking so long. Yet I'm never reaching the surface before I die. My thoughts go fast but my fall doesn't. It was stupid to expect to fall that far in 20-odd seconds anyway. Hey. Well, Perith should have relayed the news already. He must be waiting. Perith, now. Sofia felt the spatial disturbance coming before the teleportation resolved. 2 huge galleons appeared in space. They were fused together hull to hull by a bunch of bone, to which Perith's feet were also melded. With this simple trick, it was possible to teleport massive things with Perith's link to Sofia, Perith immediately cast a greater heal on Sofia, bringing her health from 34% back to full. The others were all under a large dome-shaped shield maintained by Azarid, allowing them all to survive in space, though most of them could already do that easily. Only Perith, Pestle, and Sofia were out of the shield, and while Sofia couldn't speak due to the lack of air, Pestle still could. Sofia Klepra, she said, disapprovingly shaking her skull. Regret? She asked. It was Sofia's turn to shake her head. Fun play Leviton? Pestle asked, her jaw dropping. Sofia nodded with a crazy smile. Yes. Pestle exclaimed, sounding a bit proud, Maybe Sofia Ravager won descendant after all, she turned around, looking satisfied. Maybe. Leviton leg, Sofia could hear Pestle mumble as the tiny fairy walked away. Sofia let Pestle wonder about the logistics of eating the undersea abomination and went to free Perith from the block of bones he was fused to, gave him a quick hug, then walked into Azarid's dome. Well? Look at your map. What do you all think? Success, no? We skipped like 2 hours of sailing. Sofia said as soon as she felt air enter her lungs. The fully armored hero from Azarid's group answered first. Okay, yet. Why in the fuck are we in orbit, though? Sofia shrugged. I said I would get us past the Leviathan faster, never said how. Chapter 708, No Air and No Hair. The two ships made their way down to the 4th checkpoint in a few minutes. They now had a significant lead on everyone else, so their alliance stopped there. You have reached the 4th checkpoint. Vote on a perk for your vessel. Available perks, 3. Self-sustaining mana shield. Maneuverability plus 100%. Periodical invisibility module. Maneuverability. Sofia asked the others. Yet, Morn confirmed, we don't really need anything else, might as well gain more mobility. With another unanimous vote, the galleon was upgraded and the group started sailing toward the next checkpoint, which had no name on the map. So, how was the Leviathan? Cooley asked, looking at the calm sea of the Leviathan's territory behind the ship. Honestly. Sofia answered, I understand why nobody wants to have anything to do with it. It's a monster straight from your worst nightmare. Morn looked back from behind the wheel, and not even that could stop you to think Sun ever wanted me to compete with you. Can't say it was easy, but I did manage to escape. Barely. And weren't you the one who said you were confident in beating me one-on-one? Still am, but I have to acknowledge that you are damn good at surviving. What can I say, I do really appreciate staying alive, even if I have to die a few times in the process. Cooley slowly shook her head with a sigh. Sometimes I ask myself whether I really scrambled your brain with that punch back then. Ahaha. You think you can take credit? I was always like this. I do wonder sometimes, though, what I would be doing with my life now if scripture had never decided to mess it all up for me. Nyat, what ifs, hey. Plenty of that going through everyone's head when we live so long, Cooley said, some nostalgia in her voice, her ears swinging in the wind. A man proposed to me when I was about your age. I assume you said no. Morn chimed in. That I did. I was too busy trying to build a business. Sometimes I wonder what my life would have been if I'd just told him yes. A few years after I rejected him, he married another person from the friend group we had back then. They're all dead now. Ah, Sofia knows their son, now that I think about it. Carlson. HMM, Cooley confirmed with a nod. If I could go back to the past, I wouldn't change a thing, but still. The mind wanders. Perith offered to take the wheel, so Morn let him and fully joined the conversation. Why'd you not marry someone else now then? You don't have to leave your family life to your imagination. Ah, maybe I'll think about that if I find someone interesting. Not so many men out there looking for an old woman like me. I mean, you look like the youngest of us three. I'm not sure if age would be that much of an issue, Sofia said. Oh, for sure, Cooley approved, plenty of young guys wouldn't mind, but I do. I'm nearing 500, do you know how strange it feels to be with someone not even a tenth my age? I tried but I just can't. Never seemed to bother Sun, Morn commented. Well, don't worry, Sofia said, I'm 100% sure you'll find someone very very soon. Why wow, Cooley started, before she realized, oh god, I forgot. Sofia said nothing, with a bright smile, she shared a system window. Live spectator count, Sofia Afinareth, 33,567. The fur on Cooley's ears stood on end. Oh no! There were a lot of people interested in getting a close look at the Leviathan. Well, that's good news, right? Morn asked. Hey! I'm single too. Everyone watching, if you've got a son who's super good looking or a prodigy swordsmith, I'm interested. You can send a letter directly to the Oracle in Herzl, she added, taking a provocative pose. Cooley facepalmed while Sofia had a good laugh. Those are the things you're looking for? Sofia asked, still half laughing, after Morn stopped posing. Can't really afford to be more picky when Son's the one doing the vetting before she'll even let me date anyone, Morn said with a shrug. Son does that? Cooley asked, incredulous. Quite hypocritical coming from her, Sofia commented. It's because of my parents, Morn said. I probably shouldn't say more here, we can continue this later. It's fine though, I don't mind too much, long life ahead, you know. If you don't want children, yet, Cooley said. I'm sure it's not that bad, Morn answered, if even kleptras can do it I'm sure we'll all manage if we really try. Hopefully. Worst case I've got my swords. Your swords? Sofia repeated, suddenly. I think maybe it's better if you don't have kids. Like you're one to talk. If you had kids they'd go bald from stress before reaching adulthood with how you go about your life. Morn jokingly accused. Gah, everyone heard Pestle loudly gasp from further on the deck. Boki bald. Pret bald. Pestle bald. Sofia everyone make bald, she realized in horror. You're a skeleton, you leghead. Sofia shouted back, throwing a random bone in her general direction. Leghead. Somehow, Pestle proceeded to eat her own skull. Should be right here, Morn said, looking at her map. Cooley nodded, just empty sea. Above the clouds probably. Izarad's group has been flying high, since we didn't see them go down, probably up, yeah, Sofia agreed, we should hurry, another ship made it to the 4th checkpoint already. Faster than expected, Cooley noted, they must have someone capable of speeding up their ship quite a bit. We will probably be fine, Sofia continued as the ship started to fly up at a steep angle, we have that boost from the Phoenix module almost ready. The galleon quickly made its way through the lowest layer of clouds, and there was as expected a faint column of light far up above. Space again, Sofia commented, anyone know what these green rings on the way are? Not the faintest clue, Cooley said, looking at the strange rings of green light that seemed to form somewhat of a lightning-shaped column up to the checkpoint. Morn piloted the ship up to the first green ring in a quasi-vertical ascension. Arrows of light appeared, pointing up to the ring, so the group guessed they had to go through it, and as they did, they discovered that it was a simple speed boost. Each time they went through a green ring, the speed of the ship seemed to almost double, and these bonuses showed no signs of running out. With the improved maneuverability it was easy to take them all, reaching the checkpoint in space in no time. You have reached the 5th checkpoint. Vote on a perk for your vessel. Available perks, 3. Speed plus 100%. Maneuverability plus 100%. Outer Space Life Support Module. Though Cooley and Morn were both unable to speak without air, it seemed that just surviving by itself was not an issue, so the group opted to pick the speed upgrade again. The map zoomed out, after they got their perk, showing the direction of the next checkpoint, which was vaguely in the direction of the sun, named Comet Shower. Looking in that direction, there were a few more green rings to show the path on the way. With Sofia's demon form having ran out, she felt a bit physically weak, but her mana was back up, and so were her unlife runes. She looked at how far the checkpoint was, and the name of it, then looked at Morn. She produced a tablet of bones to write a few words. Just use it. We'll protect the ship. Morn gave a thumbs up, finished to properly aim the ship toward the first green ring, and pulled on 2 levers simultaneously. The temperature on the ship immediately shot up as the trail of flame behind the Phoenix module grew massively and changed color. The flying galleon started picking up speed. A lot of speed. It wasn't long before Sofia saw the first comet coming. Sofia was almost mesmerized by the sight of the ethereal blue trail that followed the gigantic block of ice, which had appeared out of nowhere, and was flying in a curve toward the galleon. As it turned out, she did not have to do anything, as the ship was too fast, and the comet just passed by behind them. However, that was only the beginning, this was only a raindrop before the shower. Hundreds of comets appeared in the galleon's path. Oh crap! That many! How much of that can the others deal with? Maybe half? Morn could do more, but she's at the wheel. Alright, well, didn't prepare those for nothing. Sofia grabbed a tiny red crystal from her storage, playing with it in her hand. This was the byproduct of her new fused skill, crystallized suffering. Debilitating pain and soul damage. Let's see how debilitating. Give me the 500% processing boost. Throwing the crystal into her mouth, Sofia aggressively bit down into it and immediately swallowed. It felt like swallowing daggers. She instantly felt the immense pain well up from inside her, her entire body ached, like getting shredded by 1,000 blades. That's it. Ahaha. Mr. Scribe, you scared me for nothing. This isn't even half as bad as our new level up method. Looking at the incoming comets in the distance, they seemed to have slowed down somewhat. Ooh. This I'm not used to. That's some potent candy. Sofia ran up to the bow of the ship and summoned the 5 destroyer skulls of the choir, while preparing an explosive bolt in each hand. I beat the shooting target game for the master bow. Look what I do with your comets. Shooting several explosive bolts a second, Sofia illuminated the black void of space with fireworks of her own making. Chapter 709, Who is watching? Yes. In a rather small private room, one of the few level 500 humans was watching Sofia happily destroy a swarm of comets after her short run-in with the Leviathan. With a deep voice, he spoke to the woman sitting next to him, whose yellow sundress contrasted against her dark skin. Those humans from the other side are really something else. A shame I was too busy to start watching earlier. Maybe if you'd not forced Nola to go check that glimmer in the sky, she could have taken care of that Alphagiad for you. Now's not the time to get lazy about security. I'm sure someone will have recorded all of this anyway. Most likely, the woman answered, no comments on her lightning. The man extended a hand, effortlessly and flawlessly reproducing Sofia's explosive bolts. Modified version of Zolander's lightning spear, he explained, reduced stability and speed, higher volatility. Channeling speed is where she is going to hit a wall with a modification like that. As she channels more mana, the spear will grow too unstable to keep growing, unless she can massively improve the input channel. Zolander. Was that not someone from your line who ended up working as an angel? A friend of the family, the man corrected, dispelling the bolt in his hand. Are you going to keep that base? No, you know my style. What I want is that avatar form you mentioned in your report. Can't you just contact the scribes for the schematics? The woman asked. I could. But where's the fun in that? I'm thinking of sending a delegation. A delegation? Where? You said she was planning to build a city, no? Send some kids from Class A and a few workers from the guild. Our island is starting to get crowded anyway. That it is. Oh, look, she's done clearing everything already. Barely a challenge considering what came before. See, that's your problem, Kala, you can't enjoy the simple things in life. This is why Nola ascended and you didn't. Kala shook her head, rolling her eyes. With the Phoenix module's speed boost, Sofia's group overtook Azerids again, in the middle of the comet shower. That being said, Sofia clearing most of the comets also helped them progress faster. The group quickly reached the 6th checkpoint and picked another speed boost out of the 5 choices. Sofia looked at her map. It showed a very zoomed-out view of space. The sun itself was labeled finish line. They were hard to see, as looking in the sun's direction was quite blinding, but there were more speed boost green rings leading to it. Crazy ride into the sunset, hey? We are supposed to just throw ourselves into the sun? She looked at the others, who had all similarly pulled up their map. Cooley and Perith both shrugged, and Morn just adjusted the wheel, whistling a song that nobody could hear. She gave another glance at the sun, then at Azerid's ship not far behind, who was getting out of the comet field. I'm guessing this was supposed to be a tense race? We just pulled so far ahead there isn't really a competition. The final of this event ended up being anticlimactic. While 2 more ships managed to get past the comet shower before Sofia's galleon reached the sun, they just had no chance to catch up, and everything turned white as the ship sunk into the sun. They did say it was a backup event. Feels unfinished. But I won't complain about an easy first place, Sofia thought as she reappeared on the Ark with the others. I thought the Ark sunk, Morn commented, looking around. Their room was just like they had left it. Theatrics, Cooley guessed, looking out the window. I didn't get any notification for the end of the event, did anyone? No, Sofia answered, half-baked event, it seems, the results will probably come later, but we're definitely out, the spectator count is off. We didn't even get to see those Goblioths a second time. Weren't you satisfied with the Leviathan? Morn asked with a raised brow. If you put it like that. Well, 9th gold pin for me. Morn happily said, this event might just have pushed me to the 500 million points mark. Now I just need to almost double that with the last one and I get my sword. Sofia nodded. Time for us to compete for the perfect run pin. Doubt I have a real shot at that, but I'll fight you if I need to. Cutting short their conversation, Lepo entered the room without even knocking. Oh. You're already back. My apologies. We just got back, Morn told him. Anything you can tell us about the last event? Not much, no. Aside from the fact that you will get an entire week on the Ark afterward to finalize your level up and spend your tournament points. What about a time frame for the start of it? Cooley asked next. Usually it starts around an hour after the end of the 9th event. But since they used the backup this time, it could be different. Everything is ready, though. Ah. There is one thing I can share, actually, usually the last event is where most spectators come watch. Well, in no little part due to your group, we have beaten the previous audience record, and quite handily. From my own estimates, around 85% of all people above level 300 will be watching. Great, thank you, that will do wonders for my anxiety, Cooley deadpanned. Aha. Yeah, I'll be at my stall if you need to buy anything, he nervously answered, scratching his head. While the others continued to chat idly, Sofia let herself fall on her bed and checked her progress while staring at the ceiling. Current Mana Heart Awakening progression, 49%. She felt a bit sick to her stomach reading the number. Her stunt with the Leviathan had almost doubled the awakening progress, and yet it was still not halfway done. And there's a single event left. This one better be difficult enough to get this number up. If I fail the trial because it was too easy, that would certainly be something. Quite nervous, and with the stress from going against the Leviathan finally falling off, Sofia accidentally dozed off. Shaken awake by Paritha's bony hand, Sofia opened her eyes feeling refreshed, in a place she did not recognize. Hey? Oh crap, I fell asleep. Where is this? She was a bit disoriented, finding herself somewhere new alone with Parith. She could barely hear Love's muffled voice in the distance, without being able to tell what was being said, and most of her vision was occupied by system notifications. Panic on the Ark, crazy ride into the sunset, backup event rankings. Rank 1, Eternal Lights. Rank 2, Hero's Journey. Rank 3, Holy Human Empire. Rank 4, God's Calling. Rank 5, Obsidian Mountain. Detailed results for Eternal Lights. Tier 3 event, maximum point reward, 50,000,000 TP. First place reward, 50,000,000 TP. Bonus, spectators vote. Seraph vote, 3/4 30,000,000 TP. Spectator vote, 29,832 29,832,000 TP. Commentator vote, 1/2 1,000,000 TP. Total earned, 83,832,000 TP. Your first place earned you a bonus gold star pin. You have received rank 1 reward, Ark's gold star pin *1. You have received 83,832,000 tournament points. Current balance, 532,932,026 points. Not bad. I assume Gak's vote cost us 1,000,000 points? And one of the Seraphs. Is it the elf who is still mad against me, or did the Andorian give her points to Azerid? Well, doesn't matter. And this if for the current situation. Final round, welcome to the tournament Ark. Your time on the Ark nears its end. Did you accomplish what you set out to do? Has your Mana Heart yet to awaken? Are glorious golden stars pinned on your chest? Now is the time to truly prove your worth in this final Tier 1 event, with 500 million points on the line. More than 8,000 participants, 13 consecutive battles, and only one first place, will you make it yours? Winners Bracket, Round 1 13th, Rank 8192. Perfect run, special notice, congratulations! You are in possession of 9 gold star pins. A glorious accomplishment in and of itself. This alone all but guarantees you a master item. But should you win all 13 of your rounds, you will gain access to the grand finale and get a chance to compete for the 10th golden pin and extra tournament points. We wish you great success. Tournament rules. Half an hour of preparation time between rounds. Cooldowns will be reset between each round, and you will be fully healed. Spent consumables are not refunded, but all equipment will be repaired. You will not get to know who your opponent is ahead of time but will have access to a list of eliminated trialies after each round. Each duel is to the death, no surrendering allowed. Giving up or otherwise intentionally losing will result in heavy tournament point penalties. Your accumulated points are not safe. You have been warned. At the start of each round starting from round 10, a coin toss will give one side the opportunity to decide on the arena type. Losers' brackets will determine the exact ranking from third place down. Tickets are sold for spectators to watch the duels live. You will earn 40% of the proceeds for rounds against other trialies, and 90% for rounds against imprints. Ticket prices varies depending on demand. Scanning spectators. Ticket exception detected. Some of your spectating family and close friends are eligible for free tickets. Distribute free tickets? Yes/no. Yes, obviously. What kind of a question is that? Free tickets have been issued to Saria Afinareth, Cynthia Malgdan, Aredes, Eternam Aoldun, Sen, Zire Evranarium Line Kralin, Speed, Nice Glacier, Theoris Liventu Deruz Richard, Vilania I Bristina, Jennifer Seller, Ola Ron Seller, Sorrow. Oh wow! It's really everyone above level 300 who is going to be watching, hey! Sofia giggled reading Richard's full name. He's really named TLDR. Wait. Ola Ron Seller? Who the fuck? We have another hidden ancestor we didn't know about. Chapter 710, Betrayed by Your Own God. Discarding her thoughts about her newfound family member, Sofia finally took some time to observe the place she was in. It was a square room with yellowish walls and no windows. Some natural light filtered in from under the rusty iron door keeping the room sealed. Sofia's mana senses stopped at the door, although she could still faintly hear Love's voice outside. Well, ready? She asked Parath, who was currently at the minimal size he could be with his abomination skeleton. Parath gave a confident nod. Great. I wonder if we'll have to fight Tartaros again. Can anyone even beat him aside from us? Saria maybe? Yet I feel like she would probably manage. Maybe. Parath shrugged, then pointed at Bookie's book form, latched to Sofia's waist. Prepare for the worst-case scenario and preemptively summon Pestle. Parath nodded again. There are only a handful of people we have to worry about, and the chances to get one of them in the first round are low. But, true, we cannot afford to be complacent now. Bookie and Pestle were summoned, further crowding the tiny room. Sofia. Bookie said, looking up at her and grabbing her shirt, can I fight by myself if we don't know the opponent? By yourself? You want to try using your fusions again? It has been a while. Yes, Bookie confirmed. I trained a lot when you were leveling up, I want to fight too. If someone can't get past Bookie alone they would be of no help to awaken my mana heart, so. You did, training in secret, hey? Alright, sure, should Parath support you with the sanctified ground at least? No. Maybe. If I struggle. Is that fine? Parath gave a gentle pat to Bookie's skull, and Sofia just nodded with a gentle smile. We'll be watching you, then. Pestle watch, the fairy added, flying up to Sofia's head and sitting in between her horns. Should you not start with a fusion or two while we still have preparation time? Sofia asked Bookie, who shook his skull in response. I trained to make the first fusion very fast. Bookie bragged, don't need time. Alright, if you say so. Well, I already have my runes up, so really all my preparations are done. We should still have more than 20 minutes. A game of cards? Sofia asked, bringing out a deck of bone cards. As only 5 minutes remained until the start of the first round, a timer appeared near the door. Slowly, Love's voice started to become slightly clearer, but the group still had to stay silent if they wanted to understand what was being said. And it's already over. The poor beastman died in a single strike. That was it for the last worthwhile imprint match of this first round. Unsurprisingly, all of the top contenders are still in. After a long pause, they heard Love again. Next up is the first real round, and not the least, it's what you've all been waiting for. That's right, I don't think I need to present them anymore, but we are starting the festivities without twin rule set duo, Perith the mute hero and Saintess Sofia. The mute hero, Sofia repeated, eyeing Perith, like it. Perith's skull wobbled, he seemed to be unconvinced by the title, and after reflection, pointed with a finger at Sofia's dagger. You like the dagger's titles better? Some of them are nice, I guess. Would be better if it accepted to update during the trial instead of throwing errors, though. I'm sure we got to have unlocked at least 1 or 2 juicy ones already. Oh well, Olympian is hard to beat as long as I have Victory's crown anyway. Perith nodded. Oh, actually, speaking of your mutism, I'm a bit excited to get through the filter. It's been improving, so maybe this time your restrictions will lift enough to allow you to write. Pred no need speak, Pestle chimed in, Pestle very understand Pred already. You think so? Sofia asked, looking up as if she could see Pestle still perched on top of her head. I think so too. Bookie said, but it would still be nice if Brother Perith could speak. Not even speak, Sofia said, I'd just be happy if he could share his feelings and ideas a bit more openly. Ah, looks like it's about time. The timer on the door approached 0. Bone armors enveloped each member of the groups as they all stood up. They all looked at Bookie, who seemed to be getting cold feet, shuffling in place. Sofia gently pushed him toward the door, after you, my valiant knight. Bookie strode toward the door with renewed confidence. When the timer hit 0, Bookie pushed open the rusty door, allowing sunlight to pour into the room. Walking up a few steps carved in stone, he walked out. There were small podiums with around 1,000 seats surrounding a square arena about 50 meters wide. The arena itself was nothing special, just raw stone slabs, with the different colors of stone drawing the image of some kind of elongated drake flying in a circle in the center. The sun shone brightly overhead, and not much else could be seen from there, except for the top of a few rustic-looking houses and trees beyond the podium. A few people cheered in the audience as Sofia's group appeared, but the general mood was actually quite heavy. This was a regroupment of many of the planet's most powerful people, here for a myriad of different reasons. There was everything, from fairies, demons, gods, recessed, dragons in humanoid form, miniaturized kleptras, liches, oracles, saints, heroes, even a few angels, to Sofia's friends here and there, some of them looking frankly out of place. The sheer level of power represented in the audience would be enough to make anyone's head spin, and one thing was certain, they were all here to watch. Sofia tried to ignore the pressure of all those unknown figures of unfathomable power, and focused on the people she knew. She only briefly had time to wave to her sister and throw a glance at her opponent for the first round, a female elf she had no recollection of, as Love, who was hovering above the middle of the arena, started commenting again. Here we are. The bets are off, literally, since you all voted for the same side. And I wouldn't blame you. Since this is the first round, let me clarify a few rules for our contestants, she announced, flying back and turning toward Sofia and the elf. As you can see, there are quite a few spectators. Feel free to completely ignore them. The arena is just for show, you can move around as much as you want, but fleeing just to flee won't get you far. When I announce the start of the duel, you will have 3 seconds to do whatever you want, during which a separation in the middle of the arena will prevent you from interacting or crossing to the other side. After that, no rules. Are both sides ready? Ready. Bookie answered first. On the other side, the elf with greenish blonde hair and a mithril armor seemed so nervous she was about to throw up. She must be cursing her rotten luck. I know it's not a real person. But I still feel a bit sorry. The elf closed her eyes, and drew a long breath. Grabbing a gnarly wooden wand from her belt, she finally answered. Ready. Great. Please cheer for these 3 contestants' first round. Sofia and Perith against Springleaf, begin. A giant 3 written in system's usual font appeared in the air in the middle of the arena. The elf quickly glanced back, seemingly considering flying away, but instead she kneeled, and as her magic spread, green grass and strong trees started growing around her at a tremendous pace, spreading in every direction and only stopping where the barrier at the center of the arena cut it off. It's going through the podiums. The spectators are illusory then. Oh. That's Vilania's armor, too shy to show your face? Hi. Sofia silently waved in Vilania's direction, completely ignoring the elf. It was Bookie's job, after all. Bookie used his 3 seconds wisely, seeing the elf summoning plants, he immediately fused with the flower mage, green moss starting to grow on his bone armor, then with the warhorse and the firebird, becoming a verdant fiery winged centaur. The toughness of the warhorse and fire against the plants. Not bad. I should work on getting more single skeleton pages, he doesn't have too many options right now. The fight started and immediately Bookie charged forth, burning a blazing trail through the elf's plants. Some plants were explosive, and others released poison clouds, so the battlefield was immediately messy. The elf attacked Bookie a few times, avoiding his own plant and fire spells, but seeing that she failed to inflict any damage, she quickly changed strategy and tried to get past him to attack Sofia instead. The poor elf's mana was quickly depleted as she attacked one target while avoiding another, and Sofia did not really have to do anything aside from cancelling a few spells aimed her way. Without mana to escape from Bookie, it became a physical battle between the elf mage and a fiery centaur skeleton immune to damage. She did not last long. I'm sorry. Bookie apologized as he crushed the elf's skull under his hoof. Round 1/13, win.